What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm also going to give you guys a very important warning about how the market's looking. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks in total. Not to mention 75 free stocks if you deposit $25,000 or more. So our friends in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So I just want to say that right now the market's in a very interesting position. We dipped quite a bit all the way back down to about the 565 area. But I mentioned to everyone we had to lose 565 to turn a lot more bearish for this thing to like really start tanking, all the way back down to these lower levels such as 562 and 563. And the thing is, we actually held that. We're trying to rebound a bit, but I just want to call out some tough resistance on SPY. So far, that's what's likely going to happen. We're going to be fighting some tough resistance, and we'll see if we get a big rejection or not over the next couple of hours. I'll be watching for that very, very carefully. But I will talk more about this in just a minute. So now I just want to talk about this data. Right now, there's not really much going on. We just have a couple of Fed speakers, and everything else is going to be very minor. The market's preparing for tomorrow when we have more data like the ISM services data and very important employment numbers again. So we'll be watching to see how things end up looking. For now, there's not really much data, but right now there is a lot of tensions in the Middle East. With everything that happened involving Israel, we're still waiting to see what kind of response we get by them. They're still waiting, and they're actually in talks with the USA to determine what they're going to be doing. Once again, the conflicts go back a long while. No one is saying that this is starting from one side or the other. This is just something that's been going on, and we're going to wait and see what Israel's response is to what happened yesterday. So it's going to be very important. The dock workers strike is still going on. It's another bearish catalyst that's still out there. We'll see how this affects the markets, at least moving forward. So please be very open-minded for that. So what do I see for the markets? I think we're attempting to rebound a little bit. So we did dip a bit only to rebound. But this 570 to 570.24 area on SPY is a very, very tough resistance. And we haven't been able to crack through that quite yet. If we break past 570.24, I could be looking for a nice rebound closer to 572. If we can't break 570, I think we could reject and make our way back down towards these lower levels. And that opens the doors for a bigger rejection to new lows. Because what could be happening is we had a high here, we came down, the lower high came down. We could be making another lower high before we continue to dip all the way down to 563. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. I think there's a very, very good chance that we don't really do a good job at holding above 570 and we do get that rejection. This will depend on the news and other factors like that, but I have a feeling that's the most likely case. We will see if SPY can break the 570.24 area or not. My gut is telling me we might get a rejection. We might reject very close to this area, and SPY might be making a move back down. So that's what these technicals are kind of showing us. We'll see if that ends up being the case, though, just to be safe. For ES, it's the same thing, basically. So we have this resistance at 57.75. That's going to be our 20 EMA. We have a double top-like structure that's formed. And if we get a rejection on 57.75, we're looking for a move back down towards the 57.40s. If we break 57.75, we could get very close to 5800. My gut is telling me we're going to push a little bit to either 57.75, maybe a little bit below that, maybe a little higher, and then we should be looking for a rejection and move back down towards these lower levels. I find that's to be the most likely case. For others out there, such as Nvda, we're rebounding, but we haven't been able to break past 120, 119.5 to 120 quite yet. If we break that, we're looking for 122. If we don't break that, we could reject and make our move back down towards the 200 EMA at 116.89. So I'll be watching to see if this ends up being the case, and we'll see if we get that rejection move. So be careful with Nvda. We're approaching resistance very close to 120, and we'll see how things end up going. For Bitcoin, it's the same thing. Essentially, we had a low right here. We're making a higher low. So instead of rejecting, we're actually rebounding on Bitcoin. We could attempt to get closer to the 62,380 area. So we'll see if we get a rejection or not. But as of right now, we're holding up well. We'll see how Bitcoin does here around 62,000 to 62,400. It might push a little bit more, but we'll see if we get that rejection. If it does reject, we could be on our way all the way down here towards the 59,000s. So watch and see if you reject very close to 62,000. Once again, for Nvda, that 119 area is top 120 as well. We'll have to see how it reacts to resistance. Tesla dipped all the way down to my target, came a little bit below it. I was talking about how we had two targets, 244, then 242. We came very close to those, only to see a nicer rebound. So now, as the market rebounded, Tesla kind of like followed the trend. We have our 50 EMA as our support at 247.96. If Tesla could hold this, we could attempt to rebound. If not, this could dump. What I think is going to happen is I think there might be another wave down for Tesla. There might be another moment where it starts dipping again because of the overall market. I think the market may get a rejection, and I think that Tesla might follow us down back to the mid 240s. But I don't think Tesla will dump much lower than where the low was from today. We could just dip to the mid 240s again, retest the 244 area, and then consolidate. I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. NQ's been trying to push, but we have this resistance at the 20 EMA at 20,100. If we break that, we could rebound. If we don't break that, we could reject and start dipping below 20,000 all over again and make our way back down to 19,900. I find that to be very probable for a potential rejection. For the QQQ, we are attempting to rebound. We basically have this resistance around 484.26. If this breaks, we're looking for a bigger push for basically 488. If we reject here, we could be tipping back down towards these lower levels. So we'll see. We still have this gap to fill down here on the QQQ. We haven't been able to break past 484. I think we could reject off that and start dipping back down to 480 again. So be careful, guys. For Aapl, we're attempting to rebound, but we have a tough resistance at 227.63 and also 226.32. So between that range, I think Aapl has tough resistance. We could try to get to 227, but there could be a rejection and move back down towards this very important gap. So be very mindful of that. For the IWM, we're on a bit of a downtrend. We have resistance at 218.76 to 219.07. We could hit 219, then reject and start dipping back down. So watch to see if we hold. So if we break 219, we're looking for basically 221. If we reject, we could be dipping back down towards the 215. So be very, very mindful of that. For other factors out there, we have AMD, which could be rejecting right over here as well. If we can't hold 161.68, we're trying to hold above that, but if we reject, we could be dipping back down. So watch and see how well it holds up. Other tickers, we also have Coinbase. Coinbase has been trying to rebound, but we have this tough resistance very close to about 168. We'll see if we break that or not. This is where this wick happens to be. If it does break this, we're looking for 172 as our target. If it rejects off 168 to 169, we could be dipping back down. So watch and see this resistance. Amazon's also at resistance. It's trying to rebound. It could get closer to about 187 before it tries to reject. It came just under that. So we could see 187, then a rejection on Amazon, but I still think it's going to be coming down to 182. For Meta, we're rejecting right here. We're going to be watching the 570 area support. If that fails, we're looking for this imbalance filled towards 565. If we hold that, we could rebound, but I think the odds favor is dipping. Microsoft looks more bearish as we're continuing to fall. I think there's a good chance we start dipping all the way down towards this imbalance. I think that 414 is our target very, very soon. For Google, we look a little bit more bearish. If we don't hold 166, we're looking for basically 165, and this could slow tech down. So I do see some potential for downside. With that being said, guys, I am seeing some signs that the market might be at some tough resistance, and we could be looking for rejection near where we're at. But just to be safe, watch your levels and see if the market does start dipping. This could drag Tesla a little bit lower, so just be very mindful of that as well. All right, so that's it for my video. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great day. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours, and peace out.